Alright, here is the video review for Iron Factory's CYGNUS, aka their take on Jetfire. He's very similar to that War Within / Stormbringer design that Don Figueroa did. Very similar to, a little blockier here in the smaller mode, but it's very similar to the design we got in the Voyager. Was it a Voyager? The Classics Jetfire several years ago. But he does come with... now, I got this loose. I didn't get a package sample. Usually, Iron Factory sends me a package sample. This time, it came wrapped in bubble wrap. But it did come with this stand, so I'm going to assume that this is kind of their standard stand. So I'm going to assume that he will include that with the final product. So there he is, just up on the stand. There's an adapter here that you can plug in. Being the standard stand, it does come with... previewed some things there. It does include the smaller, thinner adapter, although I haven't had a need for this yet with this figure. Maybe if you take the whole backpack off, but there's actually a peg here in the back that you can use to attach him to the stand if you want to have him there in robot mode. This is the adapter that it doesn't peg in. You see it's got a little cutout to go around the handle of the gun under here, but it just kind of clips loosely onto his waist piece, enough to easily support him on the stand, but it doesn't take much effort to pop it off. So we'll go ahead and put the stand off to the side for now and focus on the jet mode. One of the things that I didn't do before I popped him off, he does have landing gear underneath here. There are one in each of the knees. That's for later. And there's one in the gun itself, so you want to have the gun attached. Also, if you don't have the gun attached, it's kind of hollow up in here, so it helps to have that attached underneath there. But there are some landing gear, so if you don't want to display it on the stand, you can display it like that as well. Here he is with his old buddy Starscream. Iron Factory's up and knocked his wing down. So you can see he's sizably larger in vehicle mode. He's actually pretty large in robot mode as well, but... a nice silhouette shape of the jet here from all angles. I really dig from above. It looks great. The nose is a little chunky because of the way it folds up, but all in all, a very nice transparent blue up here. The little arm cannons, the thrusters, the landing gear. And like I said, it looks larger but decently sized with Starscream. Now, a lot of his armor here is removable. Let me see if I can brighten this up just a little bit. I don't want to blare him out, but the red is actually, it's coming across as kind of as a darker red. And it's not a bright red, but it's a lot brighter than it actually is coming across on video here, at least from the angle I'm looking at it. I do have several bright lights around me, so that could be it as well. So the landing, like I said, the landing gear can fold up. He does have, again, like the old classics, Jetfire, you can lift this up and flip out some guns on the front. I was thinking these also bend. That's more for robot mode than jet mode, but you can flip these out if you want when he's flying around. Getting a fingernail in there to pop these out can be a little difficult. There we go. The armor does come off, and again, because you can swap the backpack out with their Optimist, and we'll show that off later in the video. You can de-armor the jet. If you pull the whole backpack off, the wings come with it. The wings are attached to this middle red piece. However, the individual thrusters are just pegged on right here. And it does kind of give you an unsightly little peg. But if you'd rather have, if you want to take just the boosters off, you can have him armored up like this. The arm guards come off as well. Just like that. And then even these, these are kind of his rear stabilizers, but you can pop those off as well. There's a base jet if you're just looking for something simple. And it doesn't look too bad. Like you say, he doesn't have any vertical stabilizers back here, but these little things kind of substitute in for that. You can take the gun off too. Like I said, the gun just... He has two sized pegs. There's a thinner peg at the bottom. Here's the standard peg here. And then there's a smaller peg that pegs it. You can see in that little hexagonal port up there. Although if you take that off, like I said, his underside is very hollow if you remove the gun. From the top, it doesn't look too bad, but it is pretty empty under there. Like I said, you can remove this as well. There's the base robot. And here you can see his little sliding mechanism that allows the backpack to slide up and down on his robot mode. This little black piece here. So that can come off as well. Put that back in there, and then there's two little tabs on the back of it that tabs into the leg here. So that's his base jet mode. I'll go ahead and leave the gun off. I'll go ahead and put the armor back on. While we transform him here. Wait, that's right. Yeah, that's right. These are actually opposite, so you want to make sure the screws go on the inside. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but it looks a lot nicer if you make sure the screws go on the inside edge of the thrusters. So yeah, and you're actually going to find that, like, you know, the backpack adds a couple little bits, but his transformation is very similar to Starscream's, the Iron Factory Starscream's. So you fold the first little tip of his nose in. I actually posted a picture earlier where I'd forgotten to flip that out. And it actually doesn't look too bad, even if you just want to leave that flipped in. It makes it a little less chunky here on the nose, but you can do that if you want. Flip that down, and the whole head assembly comes around, stops, that neck comes out right there. You fold this down. Now, you can fold this down first, but I found it's easier because his neck piece actually comes out of there. To grab the neck piece, you can see this little hinge here, the dark gray piece. Bring that up and up a little bit, fold this down, and then you bring the head all the way up and over that piece, because otherwise it tends to stick down behind here, and it's hard to get the leverage to pull it up past that, and the head kind of sits sunken down behind this thing, and it looks weird. So you want to make sure you have enough clearance to get that head up above that. It'll give you more room to maneuver the head as well. This whole assembly, unpeg it from the legs, and then, like I said, there's a couple little tabs here, here on the back. So you slide this up. You can remove it as well, but you slide this up, and you want to lift it. It has a little bit of wiggle room. You want to lift it up because those white tabs then tab into the backpack, and that's what secures it in the upward position here. And then the wings, kind of fold them out to the side. You can these will fold either way, but I think it looks a little nicer if you fold them away to the back. One, it's a little easier, and also just once you fold them up and then fold them all the way up around behind the robot, then you don't have this little extra flap kind of halfway covering up the wing. It at least looks like one solid piece back here. The arms come out, rotate around on this hinge, snap into there, just like that. These, you have to pull these off, rotate it, plug it in the other way. Although you can leave them facing backwards again if you want. Open up these knee panels, extend the legs, and this is important. You want to make sure these are open because you can see that gray tab in there, tabs into the back of this, and if you have this closed, you risk ripping that tab off or breaking it. I mean, they're tough. I did it accidentally. Like, this leg was not extended all the way, and I didn't realize it had a peg there. I forced it, and it didn't break, so you should be okay, but, like, why risk it? Bring that down. The ankle piece here lifts up and comes down and actually pushes it all the way into the thruster. You can see there's an opening here. You want to bring this down around on the hinge and push it all the way in there. Flip out the toe. And this can kind of collapse up too, so make sure this fully extend the foot. On the underside of the arm, open this up, flip out the fist, and same over here. And then give him his gun. And there he is in robot mode. Let's see if I can. Brightened up a little bit, but not so much this time. So he's got the nice detailing. He does have the helmeted head. We do have an unmasked head we'll swap on in a minute. But he's got a ball joint here at the neck. He's got a ball joint. He's got the hinge here, and then this whole ball joint you can see attached to this. So you've got this hinge, the ball joint, and then you've also got the hinge here that allows it to flip around that post for transformation. So you've got a pretty decent range of motion in the arm, just at the shoulder. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got dual hinged elbows, so you can fold them all the way up. Wrist swivel. He actually has removable wrists. We'll show those off here shortly. He's got a waist swivel. He's got an ab crunch. Oh, I forgot to show off gearwalk mode. We'll at the end of the video, sorry, hang around. I will show off, I'll bring him back and I'll show him in his gearwalk mode. He does have one. And I can't believe I forgot that. I was so busy focusing on other things that I just went right to robot mode. These little pieces are on ball joints, so these get out of the way, as well as they also have a hinge a little bit so they can come out to the side, or about 90 degrees to the side. So you can clear this armor out of the way for just about any leg poses you want. But thigh swivel up there, a ball joint there at the hip, so he's got full range in all those directions. Double knees, although the backpack gets in the way a little bit, but a pretty decent range of motion there in the knee itself. A double hinge and then a ball joint at the foot, as well as the hinges in the toe, as well as the heel. So you've got a lot of good range of motion, and he's very solid too. Somebody asked on TFW, can he hold the swords from Perfect Effects, the Beast, the Guerrero Jr.? Well, let's find out. So here it is, and I won't go all the way in because there's a tab halfway up here, but it's the right size, and holy crap. So like, not only, I mean, like his elbow, this upper elbow is a little tight. Look at that. Oh my God. That is not a tiny sword. I mean, it's not as disproportionate to him as I thought it was going to be. But I mean, like, he's supporting it and it's not drooping. That's pretty crazy. Okay. I specifically wanted to wait until the video to see if, like, to actually have the video be the stress test, and like, wow, that's, I mean, like, I guess shaking him, even shaking him, it doesn't droop. So there you go. Can he hold one of the Beast Guerrero swords? Even straight out, he's not, like, I mean, he's tilted back a little bit, but even if I put him forward, like, all of this weight up in front of him, he's not falling over. Like, let me shake the table. Like, even shaking the, I'm shaking the table pretty vigorously, and he's not falling over. That's pretty impressive. So there you go. To answer your question, yes. I love Iron Factory stuff. I know I say that in a lot of their videos, but I don't know. I don't know how I could demonstrate the solidity better than that. I did mention he has separate fists. I haven't pulled them off because I find that, like, these the open fists are the most versatile. They can hold his weapons, they can hold all of his things, and still transform. He does come with two closed fists here on either end. Those he could also probably transform with those attached. Although maybe because the way that thumb comes out makes me wonder. Obviously, he can't transform with the open hands or the pointy fingers attached. I think Magnus came with these same fists. I know we've seen some of these open fists, or maybe I know Bridge Watcher came with some different fists. I haven't pulled them off the sprue. I don't know if I'm going to, just because it's more parts to keep track of, and I don't know that I will display him with these, but just so you know, these are not, you cut this little piece of the sprue off. He's got a pointing finger, two open hands, and then two fists. But I think I'm just going to keep him with the open fists. They're just the most versatile, and you can transform them back and forth, and you can hold everything. But it is an option if you want them. He does come with, let me bring him up. I'm just going to kill Optimist here because the sword's sticking out. I'll bring him up here and get a quick little focus on his face. So there's his masked face with the big blue visor. Not a whole lot of detail, but not bad because it's not a big head, so not bad for that. Here he is with his unmasked face, painted unmasked face. So nice, a little bit more fine detail on there. We'll swap that off in just a minute. Now you can, I know, like Starscream. Oh, there goes the helicopter again. And like Starscream's head sometimes will pop off when you're transforming it under there. I wouldn't recommend, like, there is a screw on the back of each of these heads. I would absolutely recommend unscrewing it to swap them. It seems like it's on there pretty tightly, and I wouldn't want to risk damaging anything. So just loosen the screw up a little bit, pop one head off. You don't have to pull the screw all the way out. If you want to, you can, but then the screws are tiny. You could lose one. But then unscrew it. Just make sure it gives a little bit. You don't need a whole lot of clearance, but you do definitely need to loosen the head a little bit. There we go. Okay, that one's going to come apart, but... And then just screw the new head on. And there you go. Then you just turn it around. And there is his unmasked head on his body. I left the helmeted head on first because he's more, from the cartoon, is Skyfire, where he was friends with Starscream. He's more associated with the unmasked head. Actually, I think that's all he had on the cartoon, so I want to make sure I swapped it out. So when I brought in Wings of Tyrant Red here, aka Starscream, as a size comparison, there they are together. And they look good together. Skyfire is appropriately large. And like I said, he's just a solid figure overall. But so there he is with probably the most important comparison with the Starscream from the same line. Here he is with... Now, this is Studio Series Bumblebee, but so he's smaller than a usual Deluxe. But there he is with the current Studio Series Deluxe Bumblebee. So he's not small. I mean, he's big-ish. I mean, he's definitely much smaller than your average figure, but decent size. He's one of Iron Factory's larger figures. That wasn't a city. Although even Scorponok's not much smaller, or not much bigger than him. Here he is with the Bandai Pacific Rim Gypsy Avenger. Just for a scale to something not Transformers. Here he is with the Magic Square Architect and Fire Extinguisher that we reviewed the other day. And he even kind of looks good with them too, despite being a little bit more detailed, whereas they have more of a cartoony look to them. And for the compatibility factor, here he is with... Whoops, dropped his foot off. Well, that's going to come off anyway, but it needs to stay on for right now, Prime. Anyway, here he is with the Optimist. So one, from the same general era design, that War Within Stormbringer basic design. Again, it kind of incorporates elements from both. I'm sure somebody will say, no, but it's really more this one because of this. And if you are, that's fine. Let me know if I'm screwing up. But that basic idea design. Pre-Earth modes. And like I said, you can swap the backpacks and the feet armors and things like that. You can take these pieces off of Prime, the lower boots, as well as his big backpack. And then you can take this whole back assembly off of Skyfire here. See, it's the same kind of peg here. Plug this onto Prime. Now he's got a jetpack. He's not quite as prepared to wield it, but some of that may just be my table. He doesn't have those additional heel spurs to really support him. There we go. You can open these up. I didn't do this on Jetfire, but like you saw earlier, when you flip these up, you can bring these forward and over the shoulder. I'll show it on Jetfire in a minute. But you can just display those like that. And if you take the... Come on. If you take these off, you can swap out Skyfire's arm pieces onto him, like that. And same thing with Skyfire himself. I'm not going to swap every little single piece out. You can pull these off. You can pop these out. Attach these guns to Skyfire. Or to CYGNUS, I guess I should say his name is. Attach those here. You pull these pieces off. Yeah, those could actually probably attach to Prime. You can attach... yeah, I gotta fold his foot up. You can attach the Prime feet to him. I don't know if there's any canon reason to do this, but the functionality exists there on the toys. And you can attach Prime's backpack to Skyfire here. And you can put those on Prime. So if you want to armor Prime up, you can. Like I said, I don't know how much use that functionality is really going to get from me, but it does exist. together. All right. I didn't push that on all the way, and it was because of the guns, it was a little awkward anyway. We'll put Prime back together later. Put his armor back on. Put his feet's armor back on. Put his feet back out. Toes. Toe pick. Boy, that's dating myself. And yeah, like I said, go ahead and flip this up. Like I said, if you want to, you can have him, you can have the weapons either straight up or angled or over his shoulder. Oh, actually, they do come all the way through. So however you want to display those angled on his backpack. Personally, I think this looks the best. Bring him down a little lower to his shoulders, but entirely up to you. And that is Cygnus in a nutshell. I am going to give you Gearwalk mode because I promised. But yeah, I'm really happy with him. Like, Iron Factory's just killing it on these small scale figures. Should we just go ahead and leave that there? So pull the arms back out and around. Basically, you're basically just kind of half reversing it to Jet. If you know what Gearwalk is, you know what we're doing here. So bring that up. Bring this up. Also, I have noticed sometimes this just clips on. There's no pin, it just clips onto a post across there. Sometimes it won't come all the way flat like this, and if that happens, just kind of make sure that it's seated properly all the way on that bar when you flip it up. It's that easy. Flip his head up, flip that up in there, extend the nose, bring his arms back, and then basically just bring his leg, use this ab crunch here at the waist, bring his legs down, get these armor pieces folded forward out of the way here. That will let his legs come forward a little bit more. And now he does not have the ability, unfortunately, to bend his knee forward like most Gearwalks do, but his ankles are sturdy enough that you can bring the legs out into kind of a nice A stance and forward, and then pull the heel up a little bit to get more of a flat, have the legs angle forward a little bit and still have support. But then just bring the arms back and around here. Bring them out, flip the wings down. And here you can bring this all the way up and peg it in if you want, like you do for robot mode. Have it sit more over the cockpit. Because of that sliding mechanism, you can untab it, slide it back a little bit. You can have it sit all the way back, which helps a little bit with balance, but looks a little awkward. I find, like, even though it doesn't really lock in place, having it sitting about halfway up gives them a decent little Gearwalk there. So yeah, if you're a Macross fan, there you go. You can do it. So yeah, there it is. Iron Factory's Cygnus. Very solid, very cool. Also, real quick here at the end, I realized I forgot to show off the stand here in with his robot mode. But basically, you take it like this, and there's a little, I guess I don't know where you'd use the small one, but you can kind of peg this into the back of his backpack here and have him kind of hover. You might need a little bit more room or an extra extension to make him really, really hover. But if you want to have him just kind of slightly off the ground, you can do that. Or if you want to have him in more of a leaning back pose. Well, you know what I mean. Oh, now he can't really look down, so that's maybe not the best pose to have him in. But if you're in a space battle and he's like been blown away, oh, you can have him do that. Anyway, there it is, Cygnus. Very cool. If you're into the Iron Factory size class, if you're enjoying their stuff, this guy does not disappoint. He's another good solid figure in the line.